Welcome to YeurDreamin. My name is Claire and I'm a Salesforce consultant at Designit, a Salesforce consultancy based in Bristol in the UK. Today I'd like to talk you through how to upsert without upset. Upsert is some new functionality that was introduced in YD25 and can be enabled when using the create records element in Flow. And today I would like to do a little deep dive into this new functionality. We're going to start our journey of discovery by looking at the new Upsert functionality. And if you have used this functionality before, you'll know that you're going to have to make a decision about whether or not you're going to process any successful records if your flow fails. So with that in mind, I thought it would be a nice idea to have a look at some reasons why flows can fail. We're then going to move on and look at a flow which creates and updates records, and we're going to see what happens when the flow doesn't fail, and when it does fail, what happens to these records? Are they updated? Are they created? And finally, we're going to reflect, and I'm going to share with you some of my findings and thoughts on this new functionality. If you would like to both create and update existing records using the create records element, you now need to enable this functionality here. So enable update existing records. And then you need to decide which field you'd like to use to identify existing records. So you have the choice of a record ID, an external ID, or a standard field, which could be something like name. Then comes the key decision. You need to decide what happens if the flow fails. Would you like to process successful records, or would you like to process no records? So you don't create or update and the transaction is rolled back. As we all know, flows can fail, and even when we do everything in our power to stop this from happening, it can happen. So I thought it'd be quite useful to look at some of the reasons why flows can fail. It's happened to me. I've hit a validation rule, a required field hasn't been populated, a governor limit has been hit, or the wrong field or variable has been used in the flow. Before YD25, if we wanted to update records, we only had the one option to use the update records element, which we can still use today. However, I thought it'd be quite useful just to have a look at the update records element and see what happens when the flow fails. So if we used a fault path and the flow failed, successful records would be updated. However, if we didn't have a fault path, then no records would be updated. Let's have a look now at the create records element to upsert successful records. So I am a massive campervan fan, and I have created a use case or scenario based on campervans. So there is a campervan trade show called Living the Dream, and my company Van Life UK will be exhibiting. So throughout the day, we will be holding product demos on the hour, every hour, and the marketing team have created campaigns and have added leads as campaign members. Van Life UK would like to sell as many products as possible and are offering a trade show discount to anybody attending their product demos. At the end of the product demo, they need to capture who has attended. This could be existing leads or it could be new leads, and they need to ensure that on the lead record, it is flagged that that person has attended the product demo. So let's look quickly now at the flow that I've created to update and create new records using just the create records element. So we start with a screen which enables us to retrieve leads that are related to the campaign that we're working on. And then we have the repeater component, which enables us to add new leads, just with some key information there. What we do next is we loop through the existing leads that we've selected, and we're going to assign a custom field, which is a custom pick list called demo, the value of yes. And then we're going to add those existing leads to the lead record collection. We're going to do the same with the new leads that we've created. We're going to loop through those. And again, we're going to assign them the required values for a lead record plus the demo field is going to be assigned the value yes. And again, we're going to add all of these new leads to the lead record collection. The next screen is a data table that displays both the existing leads that we've selected plus the new lead records. So we can see who has attended. And then we're going to come on to the create records element. So if I just blow this up a little bit, which might make it easier for you to see, we're going to be using that lead record collection to create and update existing records. So we've enabled the update existing records functionality. We've chosen the record ID as the field to use to identify existing records. And we would like to process successful records if the flow fails. So create or update only the records that are successful. Just to explain in the flow a little bit further, once we've created these new leads, we're going to loop through them and we're creating campaign members related to the campaign that we're working on, and then we display the campaign members, the existing and the new campaign members in the final screen. So let's have a look at the flow in practice. So we've just finished our 9 o'clock product demo, and it's now time to capture who has attended. So you can see we have the campaign set up, Living the Dream product demo 1, 9 o'clock, and there are 6 campaign members. And at the moment, none of these campaign members are eligible for a trade show discount. So now we need to capture who has attended. So we're going to launch the screen flow here, and it pre-populates with the 9 o'clock demo, and we're going to retrieve now the leads that are associated with that particular campaign, so the campaign members. So 4 of them have attended, and then 2 new ones have come along. So we just need to capture their details. Luckily, it's only a few bits of information that we need. So I'll just quickly input this. And Lucy is from Night Campers. And then we're going to add our other lead. One more bit of information now. Hit next. So this is a data table, and it shows the 4 existing leads that I selected to have attended, plus the 2 new leads. So now at the end, this shows you the campaign members now that are associated with the 9 o'clock campaign. So you can see the first 6 plus Lucy and Ben. And at the moment, it's still showing that none of these are eligible for the trade show discount. Let's hit finish. Okay, and then you can now see that we have, I'm going to expand this to show all the campaign members. So we have the 6 here that attended, who are now, it shows on their campaign member record that they are eligible for a trade show discount, and Brenda and Bertha, who didn't attend, are not eligible. So now let's go and see what happens when the flow fails. So let's look at what happened at the 9 o'clock demo. So 6 campaign members, 6 leads were invited to the demo, 4 attended, and there were also 2 new leads in attendance. The results, the 4 existing leads were updated, the 2 new lead records were created, and 2 new campaign member records relating to the 9 o'clock demo were also created. So everything happened as expected. So we now need to cause a little bit of chaos to ensure that our flow fails. So what can we do? So we are going to add a validation rule. The leads have been rated as either cold, warm, or hot by the marketing team, but there is a validation rule in place that doesn't allow cold rated leads to receive a trade show discount. The marketing team have forgotten this and they have not excluded cold leads from any of the Living the Dream campaigns. What is going to happen when we want to assign these leads a discount? So it's now time for the 10 o'clock demo, and like before, we have 6 people signed up for the 10 o'clock demo. The difference this time is that I know that some of these leads have a rating of cold. So if we just look at Jeff, I'm not sure what he's done or actually not done, but he has a rating of cold. Okay. The 10 o'clock demo has just finished, and again we need to track who has attended. So just like before, we're going to retrieve those campaign members and we're going to say who has attended. Now keep your eyes on Jeff because he is definitely a cold lead. Now we're going to add the 2 new leads that have also attended. This is all good for business, for Van Life UK. Always nice to meet new people. So just going to input those basic details so we can keep in touch. And then we're going to add our next lead. This is David. David is a YT4 enthusiast like myself. So it's good to talk to him. And then just add his company name there. So we're going to hit next. Okay, and again, we can see there's the 6 people who attended the 10 o'clock session. Keep your eyes fixed on Jeff, and let's see what happens when we hit the next button. So we've got to the point where we are trying to update Jeff's record, and we have hit, the flow has failed because we have hit that validation rule. Cold leads are not eligible for discounts. So we're going to hit finish now and have a look at what has happened. So only 2 of those existing leads that attended the 10 o'clock show are showing as eligible for the discount. There must have been another one with a rating of cold. And the new leads, although they've been created as leads, they've not been it's not been possible to create them as campaign members because the flow failed. Just to recap on what just happened, so there were 6 campaign members assigned to the 10 o'clock demo. Some of them were hot, some of them were warm, and some of them had cold lead ratings. At the actual demo, only 2 attended and there were 2 new leads. So when the flow tried to update the lead record where the lead rating was cold, it failed. However, the leads with a rating of hot and warm were successfully processed. The new lead records were created, but because the flow had failed, the new campaign member records were not created. So to finish my presentation, I would just like to share some thoughts and findings about the new Upsert functionality. If you choose to process successful records with or without a fault path, all successful records will be processed. If you choose to process no records, again, with or without a fault path, no records will be processed. If we have a look at what error messages we can receive, if you have a fault path, there is no failed flow interview record. However, you can display a meaningful message back to your user to explain a little bit about why the error has occurred. So you can see here that the user will know that a custom validation error has been hit. If you don't choose to use a fault path, you do get a failed flow interview. Obviously, that explains that a custom validation error has been hit. But the message back to the user is pretty unhelpful. It just tells them that an error has basically occurred. So, having had a look at the Upsert functionality, what do I now think? So, if I was to choose to process successful records, I would definitely be ensuring data integrity in my org, which is great. And if I use the fault path, that could then display a meaningful message back to the user so they could understand the cause of the flow failure. However, my issue is, as an admin, how easy would it be to recover from a flow failure when you've chosen to just process successful records? And at the moment, you cannot tell how many records have been successfully updated and how many have failed. And it would be really, really good if there could be a record created for every flow failure so you could easily recover. So, like I said before, if you use a fault path to display the meaningful message back to the user, you do not get a flow failed interview record, which is helpful, but you do get the email. So at the moment, the potential of this Upsert functionality is great, and it will be amazing with some further enhancements. At the moment, though, I really don't want to upset my data or myself as an admin, so I think I will be avoiding the Upsert functionality. Thank you.